Welcome to another conversation with the Brothers of Two Complex. We appreciate y'all for clicking on this video, but before we get into the content, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of these bangers that we drop every single week. We appreciate the support. God bless. There's been a lot of uproar on how Steve Kerr has been playing these rotations. Against Serbia, Jayson Tatum is a DNP that's not getting any minutes. And then South Sudan comes around. Jayson Tatum plays 17 minutes, but Joel Embiid is a DNP. So people are trying to figure out exactly how Steve Kerr is running these lineups and what's going on with Team USA D-Lo. Is there an issue with the matchups with Team USA, or is it just a matter of what Steve Kerr said? It's only 40-minute games. You can only really play 10 guys. What's going on with Team USA right now with their rotations?
So I think this is really overblown, but it is kind of a controversy because of the individuals that are not getting the playing time or any playing time in these cases. So I'll say I don't really have an issue with Steve Kerr using the roster as long as they're winning. And so we're in the same boat that we were in with the women's team for not having Caitlin on the roster. It just in this instance is individuals that are on the roster but not playing. So as long as they're winning, I don't have an issue with it. But when they start losing and if these individuals aren't playing, then that's when the issues start to arise and the question of coming in, well, why isn't our best players, in this instance, Jayson Tatum and Joel Embiid, why aren't they playing? So Steve Kerr, you as a coach, you get to do basically whatever you deem you see fit to do to win a game, as long as it's within the rules and ethics of that game, right? So if certain individuals don't play, they don't play. As long as you're winning, that's fine. But as soon as you start losing, then all these questions start to come up, okay? And so they beat Serbia by 26 points. Jayson Tatum didn't play. They beat South Sudan by 17 points. Joel Embiid didn't play. Now they were losing to South Sudan early, which could have been bad, but they ended up pulling it out. So I think it is a matter of fact of
sorry.
What
they ended up pulling it out. Go ahead. My gutter brain came out. My fault. Go ahead. Keep
pause on the statement. You're right. Pause on the statement. I mean, what am I supposed to say at that point? They ended up pulling through. They end up winning. What do you want me to say?
They pulled it out.
Yeah,
no parentheses. No parentheses.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought.
My bad, bro.
It's all good. It's all good. What was I saying? What was I? What did you stop me at?
They beat Serbia by 26. Jayson Tatum didn't play. They beat South Sudan by 17. Embiid didn't play, but they ended up pulling it out. That's why.
Yeah. So like, I agree. I think this is an issue of what Steve Kerr said. You only have for 40-minute games. You can only realistically play 10 players to get the amount of time, keep everybody in the game, in the rhythm that they need to be in. We all know basketball is a rhythm game. If somebody got a hot hand, you want to keep them in as long as they hot. You want to keep them going, keep them flowing. The night against Serbia, KD was perfect. He was like 7 for 7 from the field. LeBron had a good game.
I think he was 6 for 6 and ended up 8 for 9 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, certain individuals you don't need. But the problem is that Jayson Tatum is considered one of the best players in the NBA.
Top 10 players in the NBA. Yeah.
And he's on this team, probably one of the top 7 players on the team. Because you got Bron, Steph, KD, Anthony Edwards, Joel Embiid, and then probably Jayson Tatum.
Jayson, probably.
Right? Am I tripping?
I would say as far if you look at he's definitely top 10 in the NBA for sure. Going into the WNBA, going into the Olympics, I would say he probably top 7. I would say as far as the way if you would rank each player top to bottom, I would say he top 7 for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, it's unfortunate that he's not playing, but again, they should win with anybody they put on the court on that roster. honestly. So
Totally agree.
it does not matter. Again, I'll say it for the last time. As long as they are winning and beating teams how they've been beating teams, whether it's they start slow, but it's all right. Whether they start the game slow, let me make sure I say it correctly so I don't get no pauses in there. Whether they start the game slow and finish blowing them out, it's no easy way to say it. It's no easy way to say it.
Go ahead.
There's no easy way to say it. Or not. As long as they're winning, we have no issues. But as soon as the game is close, or they barely beat a team, they win by 1 or 2 points, that's when the questions are going to come. And I don't want to talk too long on it. I don't really see any issues with it. Unfortunately, you're playing with the best of the best of the best, and somebody on that roster is not going to play. And yes, you might look bad because you didn't play in the Olympics and you're considered one of the best players. But again, the ultimate goal is to win a gold medal, not to have somebody's feelings, ego stroked.
I agree. And it's not a participation trophy type of thing we're doing here. We're literally playing nation against nation, nigga. Like, so if you don't get no PT, you just don't get no PT. I think the idea of Tatum not playing against Serbia and Joel Embiid not playing against South Sudan was more so strategy than anything else, if I'm being perfectly real with you. Because if you look at that first game against South Sudan, you saw that South Sudan likes to get out on the break. They like to run. They like to use speed. And they like to get up and down the court fast. That's something that Joel Embiid can't do effectively, for real. He's a taller guy, heavier guy, not as fast as, say, a Bam Adebayo, say Anthony Davis. Even having Kevin Durant out there at the 4 to 3, be able to help side defense and be a little bit faster than what Joel Embiid is. I think it's more so strategy in that sense. Against Serbia, all they had was Jokic. So like you needed a little bit more of a big body out there, even though Jokic was giving Embiid work that whole game basically, and he wasn't really scoring as well as he could have against, say, Anthony Davis or Bam Adebayo. He wasn't post moving them two. He was giving Embiid post moves in that game. So like it's just the fact is that Joel Embiid just hasn't played well. He hasn't played. He's the only player on the team right now that has a negative plus minus. Meaning that whenever the more he's on the court, the more they're down. They're losing when he's on the court. So at this point, looking at the plus minus, he don't need to be on the court right now because he's not bringing anything to the game at the moment. Now, is he one of the best players in the NBA? 100%. You know what I'm saying? Former MVP runner the other year. Like he's an MVP caliber player. And he's just not bringing anything to the game right now for Team USA. He's literally a negative on the court when he's there. Now, Jayson Tatum, he got a little bit more playing time against South Sudan because he's rangy, he's faster, he can move on defense. He has a lot more quickness than what Joel Embiid has, so he was able to get playing time there, even though he didn't really play well either. You know what I'm saying? But that could be because he was a DNP the game before. So it's like, but also going back to even the exhibition games, Jayson Tatum just hasn't played well in the Olympics this year. He just hasn't shown that he is playing well. He hasn't shown that yet. So I mean, I can understand where it's coming from, but if you're thinking about a guy who just is looked at as the best player on the Boston Celtics, just won a championship, was just first team All NBA, was a MVP candidate, All NBA player, All-Star this past year, like all of these accolades that he has, and he's probably, like D'Lo said, top to bottom, probably top 6-7 players on that roster, and he ain't getting PT. Kind of crazy when you think about it, but it's a non-story, bro. If they winning and they ain't getting PT, strategy. It's not a story. It's just like D'Lo said about Caitlin Clark. She not on the, you know what I'm saying? It's like if they winning without him, then what's the problem? What's the problem? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Ain't a problem. What say ain't a problem? Oh, ain't a problem. Because it ain't no problem. No, ain't no problem. Yeah. So like, it's not really a story, but I can understand if you really want to dig deep into it. Embiid hasn't been playing well, and neither has Jayson Tatum, and the numbers show it. Their stats literally show it. So, people will say, but Steph I think Curry it's more strategy too. Though. Steph Curry has not shot well. He has not shot well at all. That's true. He hasn't shot well. Tatum hasn't shot well, and Embiid hasn't played well. But just like D'Lo said at the beginning of his part, that boy KD going crazy. Boy KD going stupid. LeBron turning the ball over a lot, but I think it's because the court is a little bit more shrunk, and it's a little bit different, but that ain't no excuse. You can't make an excuse for Bron. Bron turned the ball over way too damn. I think he's averaging like 5 turnovers a game, even with exhibition games. So he's turned the ball over way too much, even though he's probably averaging like 6, 7 assists, but he's also averaging like 4 or 5 turnovers. So turn the ball over way too damn much. But they're playing well, bro. Bam Adebayo's going crazy. Anthony Davis is going crazy. Anthony Edwards is going crazy. But then you look back and you say, okay, well, Halliburton ain't getting no PT either, but that boy is out there having fun. That's right. What people be saying. You look at Halliburton.
It's no expectation for him, right? Like
very true.
He's one of the better players in the league, but he's not considered one of the best players in the league. You're on a team with, like I said, the best of the best of the best. And so like he's coming into him and Derek White coming into it, no expectations, because it's like, well, listen, I'm on the squad. I'm going to go out here and play free because the pressure is on LeBron, Steph, and KD to play well. Maybe Anthony Edwards because of how he's put. Well, I would say more so Anthony Edwards and Anthony Davis because Anthony Edwards is like, he came into it saying, I'm the number one option. And these guys defer to me. And then Steve Kerr told him he was going to sit the bench, and he publicly said, well, but Kobe came off the bench. He said, we don't have a Kobe on the team. So, you know what I mean? So like, it's like, I think those individuals have Ant-Man. That pressure on them. I like Ant-Man too. Those individuals have the pressure on them. So the other individuals that shouldn't have the pressure, that should be playing freely because they're probably considered the role players of this team. Like I say, even though they're the best of the best of the best, just Jayson Tatum, man, and Joel Embiid, because they are considered top 10, they're gonna get a lot of pressure from social media, and I think that's the real issue. Is social media blew it up? You know what I mean? And so now it's more of a story because what social media says and what the actual end result is.
I agree. The end result is that they getting dubs. They blowing people out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the game was a lot less. The game was a lot more of a blowout for South Sudan than that 17 points. You know, they got to a point at the end of that game where they were just kind of playing around and they realized South Sudan won't go come back. So it was a lot of non-defense being played in that game. But they beat Serbia by 26. Like, they're blowing people out regardless of who plays. You know what I'm saying? So like, and that's what's expected from Team USA. That's what's expected. So it's honestly not a story. If Embiid don't play, he don't play. If Halliburton don't play, he don't play. If Jayson Tatum don't play, he don't play. If Steph Curry don't play, he don't play.
It's going to be a bigger story, but it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter, right?
If LeBron don't play. If they winning, they winning. Like, this is supposed to be the top of the top of the top talent in the world that's going out there playing for Team USA. If somebody don't play and they still win by 30, who gives a fuck? But right. I think if you dig deeper into it though, I think it's more so about strategy than anything else. If we're being real, because I think Joel Embiid didn't play because of strategy, because South Sudan runs and Joel Embiid cannot run. So right. I think that was more so strategy than anything else. But the Jayson Tatum one, that was a little bit more controversial than anything else.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this before we abandon this segment. Outside of social media, what is another reason that you could see this of why this could become a big deal, or has become a big deal, of Jayson Tatum not playing outside of social media?
They're trying to push him as the face of the NBA.
They're
trying to push him as the face of the NBA, and they're trying to push him as the face of the NBA. I mean, they're trying to push him and Ant-Man, but I think they're trying to push Jayson Tatum a little bit more. But they're trying to push him as the face of the NBA, and if he's not getting PT in Team USA, how they gonna push him as the face of the NBA? You know what I'm saying? So, type shit.
So I agree with that, but I think it's another reason.
What's up?
I think we have to remember that major athletes nowadays aren't just athletes. They're brands. Like, they're brands, right? And they work for or are sponsored by bigger brands. And so if you have a person that is a brand and he's representing other brands not playing on the biggest stage of the summer, it makes those brands, or at least those brands, feel like they're lesser than. And so because they're lesser than, then you kind of, that's the afterthought. Even though Jordan makes the most money for Nike, LeBron's a Nike guy, KD's a Nike guy, Steph is Under Armour. Jayson Tatum is what? Jayson Tatum is Jordan.
He's
so
Jordan. Yep.
you got Jordan Brand sitting on the bench, not playing. No, we got to change that. We got to do something about that. He got to be playing. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So
I agree.
We have to remember that. And I think this is probably outside of social media and the internet trolls clowning because Jayson Tatum didn't play. I think this could also be a reason why it's being made more of a bigger deal than it actually should be, is these brands are inputting. And they said this is another reason why Kawhi might have been put off the team, because he's New Balance and he used to be Jordan and Nike. And so it's like what I'm finding is the Olympics is way more political than I care for it to be.
Bro, yes, it definitely is. It definitely is, bro. The Olympic, and it's showing in the Paris Olympics 2024, bro. It is showing. I didn't notice it past years how political it was, but this year, bruh, it's so political. It's so many things going on right. We're not gonna touch on all the political things going on right now, but bruh, it's so political. But yeah, I can agree with that though. That Jayson Tatum, the brands are looking at this like, oh, hold up now, like hold up, why my Jordan Brand boy ain't playing? But again, to my point, they trying to push him as the face of the NBA on a national level, and on it, you know what I'm saying? And they can't push you as the face of I keep saying WNBA. They can't push you as the face of the NBA if you're not getting played on the Olympic team. Like, how they gonna do that? So, and Ant-Man is getting more play right now. So, are they trying to push him a little bit more? But that's neither here nor there. That's just a speculation. But it is kind of weird. I think again, to my point, I think the South Sudan game was a little bit more strategy as to why Joel Embiid didn't play. But the Jayson Tatum one was a little bit more weird, I think, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, just because he's a little bit more versatile, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and,
it is. He is.
You know, he could play multiple positions. He can handle the ball. He can shoot. He can defend a little bit. So, I mean, but it's being blown out of proportion.
100%.